collision with purpose, in pursuit of purpose.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to In the Spotlight. This is the home of unfiltered conversation, where real talk is what we do. My name is none other than Donna Thompson.
Dr. Laxley Stephenson, and together we're your moderators. Wow. Did this week go by fast or what?
Yeah, this week has just flown by lightning fast.
Just like that thing in the intro with the light, you see that little gash and it does boom.
Mm-hmm. That lightning bolt.
Yeah, it's a done deal. And here we are in the spotlight. Welcome everyone. And guess what? We have on our screen, you'll see Dr. Cecelia Lynch and Tremaine Stephenson. Donna, please introduce our guest host.
Sure, my pleasure. So I am so excited to introduce our guest host this evening, none other than Dr. Cecelia Lynch, who, as we can see, she's an occupational therapist, and she'll give us more details about that and tell us about all the fun stuff that she does. And we have none other than Tremaine Stephenson. So yes, you can see the similarity with the last name. Yep. Yep, you figured it out. They are related. And Tremaine is a licensed professional counselor, and she will definitely give us some more information about herself and her work as well. But I would like to welcome you both for joining us this evening, and we're excited and happy to have you with us.
Oh,
thank you.
You are very welcome.
Wow. Just looking at you ladies, I am just so excited, and we have another special guest that's backstage right now, getting ready to come on after our first break. We're going to have a packed show tonight, very informational, just powerful stuff we're going to talk about tonight. We're focusing on education. Of course, this is Black History Month. Education and mentoring and mental health is what this is all about tonight. So I'm excited. So Dr. Cecelia, why don't you introduce yourself to our audience?
Well, hey, everyone. First, let me just say how happy I am to be on this program. I've wanted to be on the program for a while now. So thank you so much for having me. And I find it so fitting for you to have me on tonight's topic on education and mentoring, and especially during Black History Month. So thanks again for inviting me onto the program. A little bit about myself. So I am an occupational therapist. A little bit about myself. I don't know if everyone knows who an occupational therapist is and what we do, but in a nutshell, what we do is we enhance people's lives by having them engage in purposeful activities so that they can be good or better at the things that they want to do for whatever goals they have in life. Typically, an occupational therapist will be involved once there is some injury or some dysfunction or a disability. So I work with children. Granted, occupational therapists work the gamut from, we always say, from womb to tomb. But I love children. I love working with children. I love helping families to help their children be successful. So that's why I work with children. So I also work in the school system where I help children with disabilities be successful in their educational career. And I also have a clinic wherein I help children who have medical diagnoses that are impacting their lives, impacting their ability to play, impacting their ability to learn. I help those children to be able to gain the skills that they need to be able to live healthy, positive, functional lives. So that's me in a nutshell. I am, on a personal note, I live in Georgia and I am married, and I have a 21-year-old son who is away in college. I love to hang out and have a good time. I love playing games like Scrabble, any word game, trivia, and I love to dance. I will dance the night away if given the opportunity. So that's me.
And let me add that you're also the program director.
Yes.
Mhm.
So that is, I'm a program director for GHN, Global Humanity Network, which is a non-for-profit organization. I am the program director for our Mentorship Matters program, and that also ties into my love for working with children and their families. So mentorship is a big part of my profession, and it's also a big part of who I am as a person.
Dr. Cecelia, I've known you for a long time, and until tonight, I didn't know what you do.
I know. A lot of people, especially when they hear occupational therapy, they're like, "What? What is that?" I mean, we are rated. If anyone out there, you could look it up. Like, it's one of the fastest rising profession, one of the best professions where people are very happy with their line of work. So if you want to look into it, or if you have young adults who are trying to consider what to do in college, they can really research occupational therapy and look at and look it up. I also have a website which is www.schoollifeready.com, that really sheds a little bit more light on my role and what I do to help children succeed in school.
Wow. And if you're out there as you're listening, I want you to pay attention, because if you look at what Dr. Cecelia is doing, it's inspiring me, it's motivating me, and I'm hoping it's doing the same for you. But there's a career path that's available for you, and so many other things. Now, Donna, I think you should talk to Tremaine.
Oh, okay. It's almost like that tag, you're it. Oh my goodness, but my pleasure, my absolute pleasure. So Tremaine, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do in your industry and all that wonderful. Because I know you do. You're just as powerful as Dr. Cecelia with the line of work that you're in, and it's very impactful in our community. So if you could share with our audience, what it is that you do and your passions.
All right. Well, I am first off, Laxley is my dad. So thank you for inviting me onto the show. So Secondly, I am a licensed professional counselor, and I have a private practice where I help others navigate through transitions. I mean, and that could mean a lot of different things. But I usually work with those who are going through trauma, who've had trauma and is starting to be triggered.
Mhm.
I do a lot of family work, because when an individual comes in, it's not just the individual, but it's the family that's coming in. And I do a lot of work with faulty thinking, or we make covenants with ourselves, or we make these inner vows, and it stops us from moving forward in our lives, and we just don't realize it. And so finding those things and helping them break them. And so that's kind of a little bit of what the work that I do. I also love to incorporate spiritual things, because I believe that we are also spiritual beings. And so if my client is okay with it, let's bring in the spiritual, because those inner vows are spiritual. They're they're invisible things that we say to ourselves, but it stops us from moving forward in our lives. And so I love the work that I do. I love seeing breakthrough. I love aha moments. I love people when they come in, they leave differently. That blesses me, and it makes me feel like I'm doing a good work, even though they are doing most of the work. But they've allowed me to walk alongside of them in the journey. And so I see counseling as ministry, part of my purpose. And I know there's more, but that's a big chunk of my purpose.
That's quite a chunk. That's quite a chunk. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing. You talk about a aha moment, and this moment is a aha moment for me. I have you on the program as my daughter, and I have my very, very good friend, Dr. Cecelia Lynch, on as well. And I have my very, very good friend, Donna Thompson. So what a aha moment for me, that we're all such close friends and family, but yet we can come together and have a discussion like this. I think it's a huge deal. And I think one of the things that I would like to see happening is more individuals getting involved and having these types of conversations, because I know that at the end of the day, that's what life is all about: sharing, caring, giving. So what did I say? Aha moment, right? Did I say that right? That's what this is. That's what this is. So it's a big deal. And let's invite folks out there watching that if you have a question and you would like to get an answer based on what the discussion is about, please send it in the chat, right? Post a comment, and we will try to get an answer for you as best as we can. As best as we can. So, but let's switch up here a little bit. Donna, what is happening in the A Collision with Purpose world? What do we need to share? What information we need to share?
Oh my gosh. So what is not happening in A Collision with Purpose? Like I keep saying, every week we're just, I don't know what it is about A Collision with Purpose, but every week there is something new happening and something exciting happening that you never planned for and you had no expectation, right? Every day is something new. But the big thing that we are like in the last minute, second, hours of preparation for is March 2nd, the colloquium that is happening at Shiloh High School. And that's going to be March 2nd at doors open at 5 p.m. So get there early so you could kind of get yourself acclimated and seated and everything. If you have not purchased your tickets as yet, go ahead and do so on our website. It's a collisionwithpurpose.com. You can purchase your tickets. Definitely you want to have a seat there. You're going to meet so many different individuals. It's an evening of honoring individuals in our community that is doing selfless work, giving back to our community on a daily basis. And they don't expect anything from the community or being recognized or anything of that nature, but we would like to take the moment to honor those individuals. So we're going to have that portion of the event. We're also going to have, of course, the launching of Dr. Laxley's book, A Collision with Purpose. So we're going to have a nice book signing. We're going to have some jazz going on, entertainment. There you go. And just a lot of networking. And it's the evening where I say, you want to be in the room. You want to come really not having a whole lot of expectations, because you're going to have so many powerful individuals that you can connect with that will pour into you, just like what we're seeing this evening. We have Dr. Cecelia with us. We have Tremaine with us. We have, financial people who are going to be there. Just so many powerful individuals that's going to be spending the evening with us, and they're going to want to share with you. So I encourage you that if you are going to be in that room, which you need to be in that room, you are going to leave a complete different person. So make sure you definitely get your tickets. And of course, we have our apparel line that is for sale as well. So you can purchase your apparel. So we have hoodies, we have long sleeve t-shirts, we have bags. We just have a slew of different bags. There you go. We got bags. Yeah, bags. So just and I know Lox is going to go over all the other stuff that is happening. We have our Unearthing You guide, which we've spoken about once again. That is just a very powerful piece of work that I recommend, even if you think you're in the right place, I recommend everyone to actually get that guide and do the exercises, work through it, because even if you think you're in the right place, we all can improve, right? We all can improve in being better. And once you've gone through the exercises and the work from that workbook, you're going to realize that you're going to uncover some things and you're going to become even a better version of yourself. So I encourage you once again to go ahead and get that guide so that you can help to improve yourself. Take a chance on yourself, on being the best you. You only have one life, right? So why not do it? And I'll turn it back over to Doc so he can go.
Let's do it. One life, and we must live it and live the best life we can. Meaning that we need to do as much good as we can do, as often as we can do it, and just make it happen. So I just want to remind our listeners or people watching that each book purchase, we have 2 books right now, but and we have a parallel. So each book purchase on our website, we are donating $5 to the A Collision with Purpose Scholarship Fund. And that what is that about? It's about helping a youth somewhere go to school, help pay their school fees, and do what we can while we can, right? And one of the big things for me about the colloquium, as Donna came up with that, that title, so fitting. Took me a while before I could, pronounce it. But this colloquium thing, we will be having students there, and we are going to be issuing 3 scholarships. We're going to drop their names into a bucket and pull it, and 3 students will be the recipients of 3 scholarships. So I think that's a big deal. For us, it's about the youth, students. That's what it's all about, and that's what the Collision with Purpose is about. It's about helping as many individuals discover their purpose. They all have a purpose, but not everyone so fortunate are in a position where they have discovered it, and our job is to help guide them to get there. And that's, again, is Unearthing You. So Dr. Cecelia and Tremaine, you want to jump in on that?
Be there, be square.
I like that. Be there, be square. There you go. Nice.
I'm actually really looking forward to that event. I think it's going to be a great event. It's going to be, I have seen the workbook that you have spoken of because I had been introduced to that workbook. And when I tell you that workbook is so well designed to really help each and every one of us really do our self introspection and to be able to determine where it is we want to go with our lives and the things that we need to change, add, or take away in order to be the best version of ourselves. I am truly looking forward to that event.
Awesome. And you talk about design, and I credit the design and much of the information to my daughter, Tremaine. And again, another aha moment to be able to do work like this.
Yes.
With your daughter. And your daughter, not just with my daughters, because both of them are very involved in the work that we're doing at A Collision with Purpose. So another aha moment. As Donna would say, oh my gosh.
Hey, you talk about legacy right here. I mean, this is phenomenal.
And I think our whole as a culture and understanding that our life's determination is based on our mindset, right? So being able to really delve into how we think and what we think and the effects of our thoughts on our lives. It's so great to have Tremaine and Kiana with their knowledge base to really help to put this book together. So you are so blessed to be able to have your daughters who are trained to be able to put this book together that can help each and every one of us who decide to get the book or attend the course or just participate in the Collision with Purpose activities.
Absolutely. And I thank you for that. And Tremaine?
I think that people should come to this event because purpose is not spoken about enough. And I think that it really does ignite something in someone when there's discussions about it. And so if you don't know what your purpose is, come, because many people get to their purpose in many different ways. And I think that just being able to see that may help you or will help you. I believe that it will help you. So just come. And those who already know their purpose, you get to network with others and see what you guys can do with your purposes together. And so come, like I said.
Yeah. And if you're a student, high school, middle school, there's no admission fee. You come and we welcome you to be a part.
I think that's even the bigger thing is that young people, middle school, even elementary, but high school, where's purpose talked about? They're playing video games or they're, watching their iPads, but has purpose been introduced to them? And so I think at a young age, if they can be exposed to it, they're going to live a very different life because they're going to be thinking differently because they're living on purpose, So bring your kids.
And before we go to the break, I want to say one thing. Tremaine, you just said something. What triggered this A Collision with Purpose is one night I was on an interview, and I went to bed that night, and something was heavy on my mind. Why aren't we delivering? Why aren't we performing? We have all this talent. We have all this stuff, but why aren't we living up to all this talent that we have, all these skills? And so I went to bed and I woke up the next day and said, is it because we don't know why we're here, what we're called to do? And literally, that's how this thing came up. I said to my daughter, Kiana, I woke up, literally, first minute I saw, I said, I want to do something about purpose. That's exactly how it happened. And I guess we credit her with giving the name because she claimed it, A Collision with Purpose. And that's how it got started. Literally, as you just said, if we know why we're here, we will pursue it in a more intentional and we'll be more effective. But not going to tie this up much longer because we have a special guest backstage. We don't want to keep her waiting.
Can I
Okay,
say
Tremaine.
I knew I wanted to be a therapist at 7.
Ooh.
And so it was either a lawyer or a therapist, but I found that people were always coming to me. And so it just kind of, it just made sense,
Wow.
And so if we can get our kids at a young age to know what their purpose is, and that has to do with parents being able to identify, that has to do with, if you believe in God, like that, him helping you do that, if it's, situations, but at 7, I knew I wanted to be a therapist.
Well, you heard it here. She knew she wanted to, and she is. She's a therapist. She's a licensed professional counselor, and you're doing what you do, and you're enjoying it, and that's the beauty of it. When you're living in that spot, there's one thing in our book, right? When you're in that sweet spot, when what you're doing, you're making a difference in someone's life, it's in need, and you're making money, and you're happy, right? And that's the place to be. And when you're in that spot, guess where you're at? You're in a good spot, right? So I said it in a broad, rough way, but essentially that's what it is. So Donna, can we take a break now? Cecelia, can we take a break? Tremaine, can we take a break?
Yeah, sure. Let's take a quick break.
A quick break? Okay, let's take a quick break. And
this is some good in-depth conversation. So quick break, please.
Let's remind our listeners, those watching, to share the stream. If you believe you're getting some value from this, don't hold on to it. Share it. Give it up. All right. So we're going to take a quick break and we will be back.
A collision with purpose. In pursuit of purpose.
Hey, we're back. We're back. Donna, I know you have something to say about our special guest tonight. So tell us about her.
Oh, yes. So our very special guest this evening is Miss Sitara Marin. And let me just give you a little bit of background about her, just a quick synopsis, because she's going to come on and give us even more in-depth information about herself. So she is actually a psychotherapist from Seattle, Washington. She holds a master's degree in counseling, which she received from the Northwestern University, and a master's degree in spiritual psychology. Wow, that's pretty deep. From the University of Santa Monica. And she currently has a private practice, which she works at the University of Washington on research for individuals with serious mental illness. And she is pursuing her doctorate in sex and couples counseling. So I welcome none other than Miss
Drum roll. Can we have a drum roll? Come on, guys. Give it up. Bing! Here we go.
Thank you. I love the drum roll.
Hi, Sitara. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. Happy to be here, everybody. This is fun.
You're all the way over yonder there in Seattle.
I'm all the way over here. It is still light outside. We even got a little bit of hail today. It's nuts.
Seattle, a nice place, huh?
It's beautiful out here. Lots of trees and fresh air.
Wow.
I thought it rained a lot.
No, we are pretty far north, so it's chilly up here. It's in the 30s right now.
So earlier, I talked about my daughter and my two very close friends. And so Sitara is the daughter of one of my good friends, right? Kenneth. And just to show you that just in our community, friends and families, there's so much support, so much talent that if this is not motivational or inspirational, I don't know what is. But just in this frame alone, there's so much talent. So I encourage parents, anyone watching, there's so much out there for you to achieve. So much. And we're going to hear about some of the achievements tonight as these ladies talk about what they do. But I want this, just looking at this frame, to be an inspiration. That in your community alone, we can come on and have such talent and have a conversation like this that is a life changer or can be a life changer. So, Sitara, tell us about who is Sitara?
Okay. One of those big open questions. I like it. So let's see. I am originally from Brooklyn, New York. I've been out here in Seattle for, I don't know, 12 years or so, something around that. And I think the thing that resurfaces when I think back over my life thus far is that I've altered my identity many times to get to this place where I am today. So, I mean, I could start at the beginning. Where should I start?
So one thing you should know, this is unfiltered raw stuff. So just do what you do.
All right.
Whatever's on your heart.
Yeah. So I'll start by saying I was a very socially awkward kid. I was the only child. I was very sarcastic. I lost a lot of friends because of it. I was a very kind of lonesome child, and I couldn't kind of figure out what it was. Why didn't I have friends? And that was kind of the majority of my younger years. And so I didn't get people, decided to go into college as a computer science major at Virginia Tech. And I ended up taking a philosophy course as an elective. And I remember we were talking about like Aristotle's theory of justice. And I was fascinated. Everyone was talking about like, what is the just? And everyone just had so many different ideas and concepts about it. And it kind of blew my mind. Just that everyone had all these different perspectives and was so righteous about it. And we were all in the same age and the same space. So I kind of, from that place, I switched gears and switched my major to psychology, which was a bold move on my part, because I wanted to understand people better. And I knew that was going to help me too. I wanted to learn more about development and behavior. I was fascinated by the brain, and it helped me gain insight into myself as well. So fast forward, after college, I continued on and got a master's degree in spiritual psychology. And it was more about the concept. We're not just our thoughts or our emotions or our physical body. We also have a spiritual side. And that gives us that sense of purpose, right? Which I love that this is, what this is all about. And so I wanted to get a better grasp of what that meant for myself and just people overall, like still trying to understand what people are about. And so now I have 2 degrees in psychology, right? At that point, and then life kicks in and it's like marriage, kids, divorce, And I had changed identities many times. Went from wife and mother to now I am a full-time single parent of 2 children who are both under 5 years old. And I had moved out here to Seattle. I'm thousands of miles away from my family. And so that period of time was a really dark time for me. It was about 5 years that I would say that I was in a survival mode. And there were definitely times when I like considered like walking away, giving up, giving up my life. And not like in a I'm gonna end it, but more in like I'm literally gonna walk away. And it was kind of around that 5-year mark of like being in this survival mode that I got sick of my own shit. And I don't know if I'm allowed to curse, but I just did. So
Unfiltered.
Unfiltered.
and and I guess that's exactly how I think about it too. And when I work with my clients and I tell them that that change isn't going to happen until you get sick of your own shit, And so I remember very specifically making this conscious decision of changing my identity to I am surviving to I am thriving. And I started to make like decisions based on that, even though it wasn't true yet. But I was like, well, I'm going to make it true. And so from that place, I decided I wanted to pursue counseling. Actually, I had put counseling on the back burner, and it was this moment. So this is kind of at that 5-year mark as well. These kind of 2 things happened sort of back to back. It was around December. This was probably 2018 or so. I went to visit a friend, and my kids were with their father, and it was the holiday season, and I didn't want to be alone. And so I was like, you know what? I'm out of here. This was a thriving decision. I am booking a ticket to Germany, and I'm going to go see my friend and spend the holidays in Germany because why not? Right. And I got there and was there for 2 weeks, and she was in the midst of a breakup, which I didn't know at the time, to her long-term boyfriend who I had also known. And we spent those 2 weeks talking about every moment in detail of this like 7 or 8 year relationship, from wake up to to sleep, and it was just constantly going through every single moment. And I remember being alongside her with that. And at the end of that trip, I had this kind of reflective moment, and I didn't feel exhausted. I wasn't upset with her. I wasn't like, what's wrong with her? Or why did I waste my time? I didn't think any of those things. I felt closer to her more than anything else. And it was like, I realized at that point that I was ready. I was ready to go back to school and pursue counseling. That I had kind of that emotional flexibility, and I had already gone through all of these dark moments to where I could be in someone else's dark moment and walk alongside them, like Tremaine had said as well. So that January, I applied to Northwestern University, was accepted right away, and then it was we're off and running. So since then, kind of the work that I'm on now is all about identity. I really work with my clients to carve out like who are they really, and that they get that choice to make. It's not what is put on them. They get to choose. And kind of anything after that I am phrase is your identity. I am a mother. I am a sister. I am a good person. I am, all of those things kind of formulates our identity. And so that's what I spend much of my time, working on with my clients. So, and again, I help them once they know their identity, then they can find their purpose. So, I love that this is kind of where we are.
Wow. Powerful, huh? And that's exactly what In the Spotlight all about. is to you come on and you speak your truth, and you have done just that. We commend you for that. Dr. Cecelia, is there anything you want to, a question you have for any comments?
I was wondering, first of all, congratulations to you that you were able to reflect on your life and use it to propel yourself to be who you want to be. For people who are listening, is there any advice that you would give them to help them to get to that point in their lives where they can be firm in their identity and they can use that to propel them to the next level, the next level to wherein they are living a true purposeful life that is serving to themselves and others?
Yeah, I love that question. And definitely, I think that when we are looking at ourselves and how we're having this honest conversation with each other is also having that honest conversation with ourselves. And so many times we want to sort of block out the dark aspects of ourselves or the parts we don't like, and try to ignore it. And instead it's like, no, look at both sides, because we need the darkness and the light. We need those shadow sides and the bright sides. That when I talk about my struggle, like that is the depth, like that has kind of made me who I am. And I don't, shy away from it. And I'm happy that I've had that experience. And so when we acknowledge kind of these darker aspects of ourselves, we don't shy away from it. We're not embarrassed. We, when others maybe point it out, we can acknowledge and say, yeah, that is something that is there. And I'm okay with it, and I'm working with it, or I'm working on it, and it doesn't really affect you. It has no power over you anymore because you've owned it, and then you get to choose: do I want to continue to own this, or am I ready to move on to something else? So that would be my feedback: is have that honest conversation with yourself. Who are you? What's the darkness and the light, and how can you be okay with all of it?
Thank you.
All right. Donna, it's your show.
Oh. I know we're talking about, we're talking about mental health, we're talking about mentorship, and we're talking about the whole education system, and definitely aligning our lives with our purpose, right? But I think like oftentimes I see where a lot of adults spend majority of their life trying to find themselves. Like when you're 40 something, 50 something, or whatever, now you're trying to like reinvent who you are and your identity, things of that nature. So I think I would probably want to ask you, especially for parents who you're raising children now, how do you help the younger generation now to begin walking in their purpose, embracing their gifts, what they're good at, and guiding them to have that fulfilled life? So, I mean, not that they're not going to have like bumps in the road and things of that nature. They're going to have those hiccups. But for the most part, what advice would you give to parents in the sense of really paying attention to their children to see what their gifts are, their talents are, and try to help guide their children versus, like you have to go to school, you have to follow this curriculum, and then, they go through all this stuff. And then a lot of times kids, they go through school, they go through high school, they go through college, and then they get out and then they're like, okay, I have this, but I really don't know what to do with it, or I really don't want to do that, or I did not want to do that, but my parents made me do that kind of a thing. So what advice would you have for parents out there?
Should I jump in on that one first?
Yeah.
Sure. Dive in.
Yeah, I think this is great. I love working with adults, and I work with individuals 16 years and up, mostly because of I guess what I'm about to say. Is the parents, they do have to guide the children. Children come in exactly the way that they're meant to, and it's kind of up to the parents to guide them in that mentorship and to kind of shepherd them, I guess, right, in a way that can allow them to be who they are, or who they're meant to be, I suppose, if you want to say that. And so I think when I think about that, and I'm a parent as well, I want to lead by example. So am I doing what I need to do to unblock my own barriers, to demonstrate to them that I'm doing all the things that fulfill me and to bring myself joy, which ultimately makes me a better parent? Do I kind of speak about my own failures or mishaps or mistakes, so that they can see that I'm a faulty person? I am definitely not perfect by far. And so that when they make mistakes, that they can say, oh, well, this is not so bad, because, my mom made those things too, or, and they can be more kind to themselves.
Or not be so harsh on themselves. Yeah, because I think it seems like a lot of times it's like raising kids, and if they fail a class or something, sometimes, we're so hard that sometimes they can think like it's the end of the world to fail, and not really show them that, hey, you may fail this, but it's an opportunity to turn that failure into learning something. And it's, failure can be good as well, because it opens the door for you to learn, right?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I can talk about not achieving my goals, my objectives. I generally don't refer to it as failure. I say it didn't work, but I learned so much through the process. So that sometimes when you use that word, it sort of has a stigma to it. So to protect me, I just say, I came close. However, the next time it's going to be better, because I learned all these lessons for the next thing. You know what I'm talking about,
right?
Excuse me, Tremaine, you want to jump in on that question that Donna had?
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, with my daughter, I'm teaching her how to distrust herself, and like listening to herself, being okay with her thoughts, and her, because she thinks a lot. And so and I think she's very aware of herself and her surroundings, and so I'm just like, it's okay, like, you can be yourself, and you don't have to worry about anybody else and what they think. Because you're 5. But she's 5, and she's always thinking, she's always observing, and she's always conscious. And so it's just like, you're 5. And so you get to be 5, and you get to be happy, and you get to wear what you want to wear, and without trying to be like a counselor to her, but also like teaching her about spiritual things, that you get to have your own relationship with God. And so that also to give her confidence, and not always like being like this, because who needs this all the time, at 5? Because I have clients, and when they're in their 50s, they're talking about when they were 5 and what their parents did to them, so I don't want to be that parent, and I'm not perfect, and none of us are perfect, but we get to lead by example, but we also get to give them some space, like, and also let them know that you're human. Parents are human. And so I think it's important for us to, yes, we get to be mom and dad, but we also get to be Tremaine, and, show that part too. don't just be mom and dad, because it creates this weird disconnection to the person. And I think, I show her Tremaine, and I let her, and she asks me questions, and I respond as Tremaine, not as a mom. I'm letting her know Tremaine did this, because I could protect her and say, no, mom, did this and make it pretty, but no, sometimes because she asks a lot of questions, and I want to be honest with her, and I think that will help her to trust herself in making her own decisions.
Well, she's good with those questions. I can tell you that as her grandfather. She's got questions, everything. She asks questions. And it's a good thing because one of the things with us adults is we've lost, some of us lost of our sense of curiosity, of wanting to know. I think it's a bad thing. And so we can learn so much from that 5-year-old. And so I'm learning from my 2 5-year-old grandchildren. They are very curious and they ask questions. And when you watch them, you learn. You know the saying, well, what was once hidden from the wise and old now revealed to the babe and suckling? It is so true. They know what they know, so we can learn. But talking about that, Dr. Cecelia, can you talk to us about mentoring? Because that's a big piece of what you do and what you're doing at GHN. Can you talk to us about that?
Yes. So mentoring is actually an evidence-based strategy that really helps young people. It helps them to be more socially, emotionally ready to tackle different things that are happening in their lives. So here at GHN, with our mentorship program, we have made sure that we are following best practice, meaning that we follow all the guidelines that's recommended by the National Mentoring Committee, because when we're working with young people, it's very important that whatever we do it right. So at GHN, in our Mentoring Matters program, we are advised by individuals who are like guru in mentoring, because we want to make sure that our program employs evidence-based practices. So we make sure that we recruit good mentors, we train the mentors, we match our mentors and our mentees, and we conduct our mentoring activities all in line with gold standard of mentorship program. We get all this support from the National Mentorship Organization just because mentoring has been proven. And even with young people who have mental health challenges, mentoring has been proven effective to help them feeling less depressed, less anxious, being able to meet their goals, being better able to have relationship with their parents. So there is a lot of support from non-governmental as well as governmental entities to help mentoring programs. So I would, if there's anyone here who is listening and would like to be a mentor, it is a good activity that will even give you even more purpose in life. And if you want to be a mentor, you can contact us at GHN at Mentoring Matters. Our mentor right now, Laxley, you can put the website.
Yeah, post the website down, please.
Paste the web so people can check us out and get information of how to become a mentor with us. But we have a program that is very supportive to the mentors who are with us, and very supportive to the mentees that are with us. In line with our act of serving and living our lives with purpose, being a mentor is a great way to start.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. And I want to say that GHN is Global Humanity Network, nonprofit organization headquartered here in Atlanta, but we're a global organization. We're doing work all over the place. You know, it just so happened that I'm the president, CEO of Global Humanity Network. Donna is the vice president, and Dr. Cecelia is the program director and an executive director in the organization. So Tremaine is also a member of. So on here we have great representation for Global Humanity Network. So thank you, Dr. Cecelia. That's big work you're doing there, and we need more involvement. We need more mentors. We can't have enough. So if you see it fit, you see it's something you want to explore, as Dr. Cecelia said, check out our website, www.globalhumanitynetwork.org. Contact us on this program as well. And we will be more than happy to have that conversation with you so you can come in and live that life of in service that we're about here at A Collision with Purpose and at GHN. And even with what Sitara is doing and Tremaine is doing, it's the same work. We're working to bring people up. Did I say that right?
Yes.
That's what we do. All right. So, Tremaine, talk to us about your piece, what you do on a daily basis. What does it look like?
What does it look like? It looks like getting myself together first, making sure I'm in a good space. Just taking care of myself before I listen and take on what my clients are going to share with me. And then I'm present. My focus is just on my client, is their time. Sometimes my clients are coming in thinking that they are asking me how I'm doing. Like, you don't gotta even do any of that because that's not what we're here for. Like, I'm holding space for you to if it's to look for some healing, if it's to if you need prayer in that time, if you need to yell and shout, like that is the time that you have your 45 minutes, an hour, and that's, we go in. I am not the I think some clients, when they think about therapy, like you're laying on the couch and you're just talking and the therapist is not saying anything. I sometimes can be confrontational and because if you have blinders on, I'm going to let you know. I'm not going to let you walking around with blinders so you don't know, like, you know what, your heart is bleeding over here and you're not looking at it. Let me just show you that your heart is bleeding so that we can maybe mend that. Am I answering your question, Dad?
Yes, you are. But I have a question for everyone here. And I want to talk a little bit about self-care and burnout. And we're going to go around the room and get an answer on that. Is, how do you manage your own mental health? And Tremaine, you started to touch on that, make sure you're ready. But how do you manage and avoid burnout?
Well, I am, before I go into session, I pray. My spiritual life is very important to me. But also I like to learn about financial things. And so I like to trade the stock market. I'm learning and making a little bit of money doing that. It's kind of therapy for me. But I've had plenty of therapists in my lifetime because as a therapist, we got our own stuff and then we're carrying other people's stuff. And so I think it's important for every single therapist to have a therapist. And then just, enjoying, like, I love spending time with my family and I love to travel. I also know, like, if I'm not feeling good, I'm canceling my sessions, because if I'm not good, I can't talk to you. I would be doing you a disservice. And so I'm going to be honest with you and say, listen, today is not the day, and we'll reschedule. So I part of my self-care is just being honest with myself, being authentic with myself, and knowing when, if I'm like tired, like I'm in a season of burnout, and so I am not seeing as many clients, and I'm looking to see what else maybe I can do, transitioning to do something else. I mean, counseling is a big part of me, and I will come back to it, but I think I'm going to take a little bit of a break just so that I can take more care of myself. So,
Good stuff. Dr. Cecelia, how do you handle that type of stuff?
Well, luckily for me, I rarely have to deal with burnout. See, I work with children, so I get to be a kid. I get to be a kid when I go to work. So for me, it's like putting myself in the space of those children and making them so successful at the things that they can do. I have, in my practice, changed my model of making goals wherein I'm focusing on what the kid can't do. Instead, I focus on what the kid is actually good at and help them get better at what they're good at, instead of spending my time trying to improve and work so hard and frustrate them to get them working on things that they're not good at. So I really have a lot of fun in my sessions. The hard part, wherein it might take a little bit of toll on me, is when I have to deal with the parents, where I have to keep them hopeful and helping them to understand that their children may not be good at some things, but it's okay, because look at all the other good things they can do. Because a lot of expectations that people have for their children, they're based on these societal norms. So when they are comparing their children to what these norms are, then the parents tend to get depressed. But when I work with these families, like, my role is really helping them managing their own expectations, providing them with tools that they can use to limit their stress. So I really do not get stressed out with my job. I find so much hope and joy in my work that burnout is really, really not a thing for me. It really isn't. I am fortunate to say, with my profession, I do not have burnout. Now, I hate writing the notes that I have to turn in to get the medical billing. And that's the hardest part. But it still doesn't stress me out, because I do understand that if I don't write these notes and get them in, I'm not going to get paid. So I have intrinsic motivation to do the things that I really don't like doing. So overall, I am not burnt out, and I don't really have to worry too much about that where my profession is concerned.
I just love how you talk about the strengths, focusing areas that you're good, because I have lived my life like that. Most things I can't do, but the one or two things that work and I can do, I just drive it home. And guess what? You will get the strength at some point, or whatever you need, to come back full circle, if you so desire, to work on those things. Because guess what? You win with your strengths, right?
And sometimes your strengths help to compensate for your weaknesses, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah. And I think overall, people are now beginning to realize, don't focus your time on trying to Like no one ever makes it to be like really successful or be noted for stuff that they weren't good at, right?
Never. Never.
People, you get noted for what you're really good at. So put the work into making what you're good at the best that you can make it.
Live where you're strong.
Yes.
And that's such a valid point you're making there, because if you think about what you've achieved in life, it's not because you focused on what you couldn't do. You did, and you drove it home what you're good at. And I guarantee you, at some point, because you're growing and you're learning, all the other things that you couldn't do back then will become easier if you so desire to go back. And that's just the nature of things. So, Sitara, can you answer that question for us? Do I need to repeat it? Self-care and burnout.
Yeah, for sure. It's great to hear everybody else's opinions, because I was definitely agreeing with much of it. So Tremaine was saying kind of doing different things and adding different things onto your plate. And I think that has been helpful for me as well, having kind of like a diverse workload. Because I think if I was seeing my clients every day, full days, 5 days a week, then that would feel emotionally taxing. So I do like to break it up and spread out my week, and do other things and other avenues so that I get to flex, I guess, different muscles in different ways. And kind of in the morning, when you were talking about kind of your practice, like I was thinking about that too. Like in the mornings, it's protected. It's like I make my coffee and I sit down and I, you have this like moment, and I make sure I don't check my phone because I do not want to see whatever has blown up on my phone, which will distract me from being in the space with my clients. So I definitely protect that like morning time before starting the day. The other thing I was thinking about too is what Dr. Cecelia said is the notes, right? Like I know that I cannot do notes at like in the evening, like after kid time and they're in bed, and I've tried to do clinical notes. That is kind of when all my stinking thinking comes out, and I start like doubting myself, and I'm like, okay, 10 p.m. is not when I am the best at writing clinical notes. And so I'm just not going to do that. That is not a service to myself. And I don't have to go down this little spiral of negative thoughts. So I think kind of, knowing myself, I also have a great peer group. I lead a peer consultation group. We meet twice a month for a few hours, and that's been great because we're all alumni of the Northwestern program, and then that's just a great way for us to vent of what's going on, or to talk about things and share information, and so it to me it feels nice. I don't being a therapist can be such a lonely experience because of our confidentiality limits. So it's like it's nice to then have peers that you can talk to, and then family. My kids have learned that when I've had a full day of clients and I'm hyper focused, I'm in the zone and I'm in the psyche of my client. When I come out, I'm like a zombie. My brain is mush. I can barely put a sentence together. And that's when my kids are like, ooh, this is when we can ask for like candy or ice cream. And I'm like, okay, So, but it's just great. We just get to like have time together, and it doesn't have to be I'm lecturing them or I'm doing a whole thing. It's like we're just on the couch playing Uno or whatever, and just spending like good quality time together. And so that's kind of the ways that I've mitigated the burnout. But yeah, that's I took a little bit of everybody's stuff.
and that's what it's all about. Let's hear from my co-host, Miss Donna. I want to hear how Donna deal with the burnout thing.
Oh my Lord.
That's where you start, right? Oh my Lord. Help.
Get a massive headache and then just turn everything off. No, but yeah, that's very interesting that you asked that question because I'm not in a place to answer that question right now.
You burn out?
Because I do so many different things that it's almost like I don't get that downtime to even like think about burn out, which is not good either because I'm on, I'm constantly going. But I do understand what you guys are definitely saying. Having to take care of yourself and making sure that your mental space is good as well. See, I don't know if you guys know, but I've worked in mental health before. I'm now in the medical sector mostly, but I remember working in mental health and having those brain drain every day, which, yeah, it drains your brain. So I do definitely understand those having to take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm. Very important. You know what I'm learning, because what happened then and now is a different thing. So as we continue to grow and become better, I'm learning that you bring good people on board with you in whatever you're doing. That's the first step. I'm learning that you give up some of the responsibilities that you have. It's okay to do that. There are people out there who are better prepared to do some of the things much better than you can. So you hand them off, right? Give it up. You become more effective. You become less stressed. You know, when you're a one-person gang, it can be interesting. So spread the glory. Spread the word, spread the glory. So be prepared to say, Dr. Cecelia, this is your gig. You're doing it. It's your baby, but I will support you. And Donna, this is what we're doing. And that's one way that I deal with. So I avoid it that way. I avoid it. So we achieve more together with less stress, with less burnout. Also, I like to, whenever it's hitting me and beating me up, find another idea to build that's going to excite me and give me strength. So let's say one thing is really beating me up, burning me out. So I think about that, say, but this is a great idea that I can repurpose myself and strengthen me. So even though the other thing is important, then I can go back now that I'm in a different place. I'm energized again. I can go back and tackle that which was really beating me up. Because it's all important, right? But sometimes you take a little break from it and you do something else and you go back to it. And I think you guys are saying it as well. Sitara, when you say you meet up with your cohorts and you do what you do, you're taking a break. You're taking it, and there's nothing wrong with putting it down for a day
or a week.
Walk away.
Or a week.
Walk away and come back. Come back when you can. So that's Donna. Do you have any questions? I have another one, but you go.
I think the question that I have, going back to, I'm always on the education thing because I have a child, so I'm always on that path of, especially like Dr. Cecelia. I know that you're in the school sector, and I know that we speak about, we've been basically talking about like more adults, I guess, finding your purpose and doing the things that's right for you, and not having others kind of define your path. But for children who are younger and they're in the school sector, it's a little bit more challenging, right? Because they have to follow a curriculum and things of that nature. And going back to when we said that you're dealing with the children, but an important piece of it is also the parents. You know, how, like, parents raising children, like, what advice would either Dr. Cecelia or Sitara have for parents who they're in a space where they need mentoring themselves in order to help their children get through our current education system or schooling system? Like, what advice would you have for some of our parents, you know, in dealing with their mental state, and if they're feeling frustrated and things of that nature? Like, what are some good coping mechanisms that they can kind of tap into? And either of you can answer.
Being that I do work in the school system, I mean, I do not provide therapy for the parents. Like, that's, I provide guidance for the parents. It's not providing help to the parents is not a billable service for me, but in essence, it has to be part of my job to provide guidance for the parents. What I have noticed is that it's best for us, for especially for the young children, it's all about, it's not so much saying that the kids need to find their purpose. Just let the kids have fun. Let the kids be, just let them play. Play is the most important occupation for children. Play. There's so much that can be learned during play. I feel like the school system has this thing that they have not changed in hundreds of years, where for 6 hours, kids are expected to sit on a hard plastic chair around a desk and learn. And our brain and our bodies are not meant to learn that way. So I don't know when the educational system is going to come in correlation with what evidence-based practices for teaching and learning. So the parents now, they have this structure that they have to follow. I believe, from what I'm noticing working in the school system now for over 20 years, is that once the parents understand how school works, then they are better able. It's like having the knowledge, like knowing how the system works.
Mhm.
It helps these parents to be better able to help their children. Because although the school system, in my opinion, is not being as supportive as it should be for children and their families, for now, it's what we have, right? So we have to work with what we have. So for parents, I try to educate them about the laws, especially for special education. There are legal rights that parents have. So when you know your rights, then you have more power. And when you know your power, then you know how to help your child function within the existing service. So then parents can then decide, okay, do I want to do, this is a framework I'm working in, but what can I do in conjunction that can enhance my child's abilities? And then that way too, they know what their expectations are in terms of what's expected of them as parents from the school system. And then they can then formulate their strategies of what they need to do. Like, do they need to have daily communication with the teacher? Or do they need to sign up for special things that get sent to them? Do they need to ask for accommodations in the school system for their child, so that their child does not have to necessarily conform to the exact rules, but based on what's going on with their child, they can ask the school for special accommodations. All these things are out there, but the parents have to know about them so that they can use those tools to better their lives as parents, make their lives easier as parents, and also help their child. So, in essence, I would say knowledge is power. Once parents know as much as they can know about the school system and know what their rights as parents are, then I think they'll be better able to manage themselves. They'll be less anxious about things. They'll be better able to provide that social emotional support to their child that their child needs. So it boils down to information and knowledge. That's where I would start with helping parents. And that's where I start with helping parents. I provide them with information all the time, how to get what they need for their kids, and how to navigate the school system, given what the laws are, given what the school system's regulations are, and given what their needs are as families.
Powerful.
Yeah, I totally agree with all of that. I think the spin that I'll add is the mental health side part for the parents. You know, I think one of the things is that we tend to, as parents, attach ourselves to our children and want them to have the outcome that we want them to have. Maybe we want them to be better than us or just like us or something in connection to us, not understanding that they came into this world with their own purpose, their own goals, their own dreams. And how can we kind of detach ourselves from their outcome, right? To allow them to be whoever they want to be. Maybe they're going to be a YouTube star, right? And you know, we may have judgments about that, but how can we allow that to unearth itself, right? If that's what's going to be. So, you know, I think one of the things that I work on is allowing parents to have that flexibility. Yes, they've been in school sitting on a plastic chair for 6 hours, right? They've been very structured, very contained. Can they come home and be released? Can they be, you know, a little wild, a little loud, a little, you know, dancing, singing, whatever? Can they be more of who they are, who they truly are at home? And can that happen in a way that feels comfortable for parents, right? You know, we're exhausted. We've been working. We don't want any loud noise. You got to get homework done, you know, help me with all the chores. Right? So you know, then it's like containing them again. So it's like, how can we kind of work together to have them respect us, of course, but then also respecting them and what they may need to be the person that they truly are, you know, in a safe place and in a way that feels within our own boundaries.
Tremaine, Tremaine, you want to jump in on that?
I mean, I agree with both of you ladies. I'm just thinking about education. When I was working as a play therapist, I would go into the schools and do play therapy in schools, but it was so important. Like I felt like I had to have family sessions with the parents. Like the parents needed the therapy more than the kid did. And usually you find that a lot, especially when you're working with like kids 16 and under. It's the parents most of the time that needs the work. But they identify the child as the issue. And it's usually the parent, because the parent may not have the resources that they need, or that they're struggling with their own mental health. You know, and so being able to check in on parents. Every time I get clients that are kids, I feel like they're dropping them off, and I'm like, I need for you to call me. Like, we need to have conversations. You're not dropping your kid off, because you are a big part of why they're
right.
you know, and so being able to pull in the parent at all times, especially when they're 16 and under, because they have a responsibility, and I don't want them to drop their kid off. Like they need to be, you need to check in on them. You need to check in on the parents. Again, families is in a person. And so like they're coming with all this stuff. Parents are also coming with all this stuff. And so everybody needs to be checked on. It's the hard questions.
And I asked that because I don't mean to stop you. Because like I said, I have a 15-year-old, right? So we're in high school. So, you know, I have a whole lot of encounters there. But just even with, you know, parents that I basically communicate with because of my son, like sometimes I'll even hear like their frustration where they're like, you know, by the time they look, they're getting an email, they're getting a call, they're getting a text, and they're just getting these boom, 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 boom. And it's always like they'll say, it's always, it appears that it's something really bad. And when it's really something very minor. And it's like you could say the kid is just being a kid. But then what happens is it seems like because they're always getting these communications from, you know, teachers and stuff like that, then what happens is that frustration now transfers from the parent, transfers over now to the child, because now the parent, then you're like, don't do that, I don't want your teacher calling me, you know, all this stuff. And then now it becomes a whole family discord of sadness and, you know, all these different things. And then the kids feel like I can never do anything right, and I'm always doing something bad. So that's why I was just like, it's, you know, it's almost like that twofold where the parents, they want to do something good, but then it's almost like they're constantly, and that's just from, you know, my circles and what I hear. It's like, you know, before you know it, some parents say if you listen to everything that you hear from the school, you'll end up abusing your kids. And that's what I've heard parents say. If you listen to every single thing that you get from the teachers from school, you will end up turn around and abuse your children, because you're like, listen, don't do this, don't talk, da 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 da, and it gets frustrating for parents.
And add that to what Dr. Cecelia said about sitting on them bench, them plastic bench, or whatever that is.
Exactly.
Can you imagine? But ladies, I want to say this because we can't stay here forever. This conversation could go on and on, but believe it or not, we have almost hour and a half. So we're going to have to end it. But the way we like to end it around here, we're going to go around the room closing arguments. So who wants to go first?
I will.
Let's have Sitara go first, all the way from Seattle.
My closing argument? Well, I wanted to just comment based on what Donna was just saying. And I was thinking, you know, choosing your loyalties, the loyalty to the school or the loyalty to your child. You know, that child can have many teachers in their lives, but they only have their one mother and one father. And, you know, aligning your loyalty appropriately, you know. And so if you are aligning with your child, then you are going to back them and ask curious questions. Hey, what's going on? I saw this. You know, is there something to explain, or do I need to push back on this teacher? Like, what's going on? Do we need to find another solution? Maybe the school is not the right school. You know what I mean? It's like, how can you back your child? Because ultimately you guys are connected forever. They're not going to be connected to that teacher, but for so long.
All right, awesome. Give us your closing argument now. I know you responded, but I want to give me something to close out with. You're not getting away without giving it. All
right. No, this has been fun. This has been so much fun. I've had a great time chatting with all of you guys, and I love having these conversations. And exploring all these different avenues, and everyone coming from their own perspective. So thank you so much, guys, for having me in the spotlight today. This has been amazing.
Amazing indeed. And thank you for coming into the spotlight today, having that light shine on you and all that information and knowledge that you shared with us here on the platform and everyone out there that's watching it live and will be watching the replay. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. We're grateful. Who's next? Cecelia. Tremaine, you next? I'll take on something. Cecelia don't like when I call it.
It's been a lot of fun, and you were right. An hour and a half goes by really fast when we're talking about such important things that, although we made light of so many things, everything that we spoke about was so deep and fundamental to us as human beings, really, and especially as women and parents. So thank you again for having me on. It was a pleasure. I would love to be back on a later date to really delve more into my program for helping children be successful in schools and working with the parents and providing them, especially for families who have children who have an identified disability and have an educational plan in place. So I would love to really assist more people with that. So I will look forward to an invitation to be back in the spotlight in the near future. But thank you all. And it was so great meeting you, Sitara and Tremaine. It was great seeing you again. Dr. Laxley, thank you so much. Donna, thanks for everything you do. You are truly a phenomenal woman. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you.
Superstar all the way, all the way. So, Doc, so happy that you came on. You jumped on the invitation. You accepted it. And what can I say? You did what you did it all. You said your piece. But this is part one, right? This is part one. We're gonna bring you back on as soon as we're done with the event. I'm gonna bring you on so we can dig deeper. Sitara will also do the same with you. So you have to share the stage tonight. And Tremaine, we also do the same. So appreciate everything. Tremaine?
Am I frozen?
Tremaine is frozen.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Hold on. I'm gonna come right back.
She doesn't just want to talk. She wants to make sure we see her.
She definitely wants to. Yeah,
I asked when we end the stream, just stay on for 1 minute before you go. When we end the stream. But we'll give Tremaine a chance to come back on. Yeah.
And Dr. Mitchell, I would love to definitely connect with you in reference to the work that you want to do.
Okay, thank you.
Tremaine is calling me. Let me take a call. This is like
She's trying to
get all right, don't worry about it. So all right, try and log with it. Come and do it from my screen. So she wasn't there.
This is what live television is all about.
Yeah, she's gonna. Fortunately, we're in the same house, so she's gonna come and do her closing argument from my screen. So let's excuse 1 second.
Sure. We have technical difficulties. But that's good. That's so neat. Whenever he moves his computer, like
That's neat.
Isn't it? Yeah. Like
so this is live stuff, so things happen. But she's gonna come and she wants to give it, so let her do it. All right.
There she goes.
Closing argument. First off, thank you, Dad, for having me on the show. Secondly, if there's anybody out there that is struggling, please go and seek help. Don't do this by yourself. You don't have to. There are plenty of therapists. You can go to psychologytoday.com and find one. but there's BetterHelp. There's all different ways. Just Google if you're struggling with trauma or just life issues. Don't do it by yourself. You don't have to. You're not alone. There's plenty of people around that can support you. And so the second thing, therapist. Go get a therapist. It's important.
Go get a therapist.
And the third thing is come to the event. If you don't know what your purpose is, it's good to be around people that do. It will ignite something in you. You're going to want to figure out what yours is. If you have children, make sure they come because it's good for them to know at a young age. There's too much stuff in the world right now. Let them know what their purpose is. Parents, you get to look at their identity. You get to see the characteristics that they have, the traits, and highlight them. Help them grow. All right. Is there anything else?
Thank you.
Thanks, Tremaine. That was worth the wait.
Yes.
All right. So it reminds me, every time I get up from my chair, my grandson jump in it. Every time I take a little break from my chair, he's at my desk. So maybe he'll be like Tremaine, know what he wants to do at 5. You know, and so that's what life stuff is about, and that's what being authentic is about, and that's what we do here. So you see, her computer thing just shut down on her. So fortunately, we're in the same space. All right, good stuff. So Donna, can you give us your closing argument, please?
Sure. So once again, just to back up what Tremaine said, make sure you are at the event March 2nd at Shiloh High School. If you are not sure about what your purpose is, you need to be in that room so that you can network with individuals who will inspire you. And with that, I would like to say thank you all for joining us this evening, this Monday evening. Thank you for taking the time to join us. And I'm hoping that something you heard this evening would spark something in you. And also you got some kind of inspiration from the discussions that we've had. And as you can see, these were just all phenomenal women and gentlemen that was on with us this evening. Sitara, it was a pleasure having you here with us. Thank you so much for joining us. And we definitely look forward to having you on again with us because
I would love that.
Yeah, these conversations, it's, you know, an hour and a half is just not enough when you're speaking about life things and real things that's impacting lives, you know, everyday lives. Dr. Cecelia Lynch, the same. Thank you for joining us with us this evening. Can't wait to hear more about what you're doing and how we can support your work and your endeavors so that your legacy can be fulfilled as well in the work that you're doing because it's needed.
Thank you.
We can see in our community. And once again, thank you for joining us and peace and blessings.
Let me give my piece then. So, Sitara, you're just amazing. You know, we communicated some months ago, years ago. And your dad always wanted to connect us to get us back to talking again. And this is a result of that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
You know, it's just beautiful, beautiful stuff. And just continue doing what you're doing. Just continue doing it. You've been through all the stuff. And look where you are. What lessons you learned that now you can apply and help others with.
Right.
Powerful stuff. So really appreciate you. We'll keep the conversation going and you'll definitely be back. Dr. Cecelia, my friend. What do I need to say? We say it every day, don't we? But I really appreciate you. Let's put it like that. Not even just what you do, but you.
Thank you.
You know, most importantly, I appreciate you. You're just the person that people need to be like. You're setting an example. And as Donna said, you know, you're doing it. You got my support. Whatever it is you're doing, you can be a guest host, you can be a guest, you can be
a host.
It's all yours. It's all yours. So thank you so much. And I can't say anything to Donna because Donna knows exactly what it's all about. Donna, I couldn't be hosting this program weekly with a better person. You're just doing an amazing job, and that's what you do. You are that person that is. Sometimes you probably say yes when you should say no. You probably say I can't do it, but you still say yes. And what else can you ask for, right? We try our best to say yes to our friends. We find ways to help support our friends. So here's what I know. Here's what I know. Life is too short to pretend to be someone you're not. Life is too precious to waste conforming to someone else's idea of who you should be. So let's make a pact, an agreement right now. And I'm talking not just to us, but to anyone who's listening. Let us make a pact right now to live boldly, unapologetically, and authentically in our skin. Let us be prepared to embrace our flaws, our quirks, our passions and dreams. Let's dare to be ourselves fiercely and unapologetically. So thanks, everyone. Awesome stuff. Blessings always.
Right.
So just stand by. Don't go anywhere. Donna, you want to take us out? Say bye to our people.
Okay, sure. Have a wonderful evening and a blessed week. Wish you all the safety, blessings, abundance that you are supposed to have. And March 2nd, Shiloh High School, doors open at 5 p.m.
A collision with purpose. In pursuit